Unit 6. I thought you spoke English. Task 2. Listen to the lecture and circle the correct answer. Then listen again and check your answers for Task 1B on page 34.
English has developed different varieties in different parts of the world. There's not only American, Canadian, Australian, and New Zealand English, but also Indian English, Singaporean English, and so on. These languages have their own pronunciation and spelling. They also have their own vocabulary. A pavement in Britain is a sidewalk in North America and a footpath in Australia. In fact, one reason for the richness of English is its ability to borrow new words from other languages and cultures that it has come into contact with. Have you ever wondered why English often has more than one word to refer to the same thing? Well, it's because new words were added as a result of this contact with other cultures and languages. Many words that we consider to be wholly English originally came from other languages. For example, passport from French, mosquito from Spanish, and sauna from Finnish. I bet most of you thought hamburger, ketchup, and coffee would have come from America, right? No, you'd be wrong. Hamburger is from German, coffee is Turkish, and ketchup is Malay, believe it or not. Some words you probably knew the origin of. Karate is a Japanese word, for example. Violin comes from an Italian word, and tea originally comes from Chinese. But what about the word cruise? That actually comes from Dutch.
Task 3. Listen to the conversation and circle T for true, F for false, or U for unknown. Then listen again and circle the British English equivalent for the American words in the table.
Excuse me, could you possibly tell me where the lift is, please?
The what?
The lift. I need to get to the 15th floor.
Oh, the elevator. We call them elevators here.
Oh, okay.
They're over there, behind you. Say, you're British, aren't you?
Yes, and I'm having terrible trouble with your language. I thought you spoke English.
We do. What kind of problems are you having?
Well, when I crossed the street just now, I tripped on the pavement. Except it isn't a pavement here, it's a...
Sidewalk.
Sidewalk, yes. Then I asked at the front desk where the toilet was.
Oh, toilet isn't a good word to use.
I know that now. It's restroom or washroom or men's room, right?
Uh-huh.
So I asked where it was and was told it was past the candy store. And we called it a sweet shop on the first floor. So I went up to the first floor and found I was on the second floor.
That's right. This is the first floor.
Well, where I come from, it's the ground floor.
How strange.
You think that's strange?
Sure do.
Anyway, when I finally found the toilet, men's room, washroom, whatever, I couldn't turn the tap off. So I came back here to tell the gentleman at the front desk, only to find it isn't a tap at all. It's a...
Faucet.
Exactly. So now you know what I mean when I say I'm having trouble. And tomorrow I'm hiring a car, which you refer to as renting, although it's only for one day. And we'll have to deal with buying petrol, what you call gas, but that's a whole other story. And finally remember to put my luggage in the trunk, not the boot, and to drive on the wrong side of the road.
We don't drive on the wrong side of the road. You do.
Task 4. Listen to the conversation and number the Australian English expressions 1 through 5 in the order you hear them. Then listen again. What does each phrase mean?
G'day everyone. Can I just have your attention? I thought while we're all together on the bus I'd take a bit of time to teach you some Australian slang you can use when you're here. Some you'll already know, like the greeting g'day. Other ones are pretty easy to guess, knowing that Australians like to shorten words. For example, you already know Barbie is short for barbecue. Likewise, this arvo is short for this afternoon. Anyway, here are a few you can use almost anywhere. First, you beauty is shouted out when you've just heard some great news, or you're really excited. For example, if your team wins at the footy. That's Australian slang for football. Another expression is good on ya. Aussies use this to congratulate or encourage someone. Here's one more really useful one you can use, no worries. You could use this to tell someone not to worry, that everything's going to go well, but it's also used to mean you're welcome when someone says thanks to you. Last, here's one I bet you can't guess. fair dinkum. What do you reckon this means? Well, it means honest or genuine. If someone tells you something and you're not sure if they're telling the truth, you can say, "Are you fair dinkum?" Or if they don't believe you, you can say, "Fair dinkum." All right now, we're coming up to the museum, but keep these expressions in mind and give them a go this week.
Task 5. Listen to the example sentence as spoken by 3 speakers from different countries. Examples. 1,
It's important to listen to lots of different accents when you study English.
2,
It's important to listen to lots of different accents when you study English.
3,
It's important to listen to lots of different accents when you study English.
Listen to 8 sentences. What type of English do you hear? Write the sentence numbers under each picture. Then listen again and check your answers. How are the accents different? Discuss with a partner. 1,
People are always telling me they like the sound of my accent.
2,
Some people find my accent difficult to understand, but I have no idea why.
3,
There's a lot of regional variation of pronunciation in my country.
4,
I think the reason my country's pronunciation is tough for some people is because people just aren't used to it.
5,
Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think the accents in my country are beautiful.
6,
People never have trouble with my accent, but sometimes the slang I use can confuse them.
7,
I think that my pronunciation is really easy for people learning English to understand.
8,
If you're going to visit my country, then you really need to practice listening to people who speak like me.
Task 6. Listen to the lecture and circle the correct answer for each question. Then listen again and check your answers. Write any additional information you hear.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a quiz. I want you to listen to the questions and circle the answer that you think is correct. We'll start now, okay? First question. Which language has more first language speakers than any other? Next, how many people speak English as a first language? How are you doing? Third question. What do you think? The number of people who speak English as a second or foreign language is more than, about the same as, fewer than, the number of people who speak it as a first language. What percentage of websites are in English? And the final question, which of these countries has English as an official language? Thailand, Mexico, or Singapore? Now, are you ready to check your answers? Chinese has more first language speakers than any other language, more than 800 million. The number of first language speakers of English is less, around 400 million, although the figures are changing all the time. The answer to the third question is more. There are many more speakers of English as a second and foreign language than there are native speakers. The percentage of English websites is around 80, although this is changing as other languages such as Chinese become more widely used. And finally, Singapore is the country where English is an official language, along with Chinese, Tamil, and Malay. Okay, how did you do?
Task 7. Listen and circle the answers that are right for you. 1,
What do you think of the English spelling system?
2,
What's your opinion of British English?
3,
Do you find different varieties of English confusing?
4,
Would you say English is a global language?
5,
Has English become a second language in your country, or is it still a foreign language?